Diego de Leon. Counselor David G. Romero.
Present.
Counselor Barbara Casey.
Here.
Counselor Vincent Howell.
Here.
Counselor David A. Buddy Jr.
Here.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem. You have the floor.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Ulibarri, can you give us a moment of silence, please?
Yes, a moment of silence for all our seniors that are in rest homes, hospitals, that they get well and some of them go home. Pray for them. Thank you.
Thank you. So everyone nice and warm tonight? It's really cold out there. The mayor will be here. She's at the lights, so as soon as she comes in, we'll continue with the rest of it. For right now, let's go ahead and do the approval of the agenda.
Oh,
Madam Manager?
it's Madam Mayor, I'm saying Madam Mayor, and it's Mayor Pro Tem. What I'd like to do is also add, right before public input, I would like to add in Maria Gilberry, a short presentation on water issues.
Before public input, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'd also like to add item number 10, resolution, adoption of a resolution number 1907, and that is a bar with DFA. And I think Cassandra has some.
And that was where now, again?
I was item number 10.
Number 10.
That'll be the last item, and it's resolution 19-07. And it's,
We did not get any information on that?
no, it's a bar that was, it was a grant that was submitted by the police department. They're in need of those funds, and we prepared a bar in case you would allow us to add it to the agenda.
Yes.
I just have a question to legal. It's my understanding, just having dealt with this, you can't add you could add a discussion item, but not an action item without violating the Open Meetings Act. What's your?
It's my recommendation that we do a discussion and then we.
And it is a discussion item.
But then we'd act on it,
Councilor
right?
Romero, you won't act on it tonight, you'll act on it at the regular council meeting? It's just a discussion item?
But we cannot put it on the consent agenda, can we?
No.
Because that's an action item.
Right, yes, and then we'll take it to regular session and vote on it at that time.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So what does the council want to do with the agenda? Need a
Mr.
motion?
Pro Tem, I move that we approve the agenda as amended, as described by the interim city manager.
Second.
There's been a motion by Councilor Casey and a second by Councilor Ulibarri. Ms. Manager, or Ms.
Counselor Romero.
Yes.
Counselor Casey.
Yes.
Counselor Howell.
Yes.
Counselor Buddy Jr.
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey and a second by Counselor Buddy Jr. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Let the record show that the mayor's here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I do want to apologize. I just got in from Santa Fe, so I do apologize for my tardiness. I thought I would make it here on time today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilor.
The next item on the agenda is the short presentation by Maria Gilberry on the water issue. Thank you, Madam Manager.
Madam Mayor, councilors, Madam Manager, I'd like to give a presentation and an update today on a water issue that we're currently experiencing in the city of Las Vegas. As many people know, Camp Luna has been out of water for several days. I just did receive a report that about 4:30 they started to receive water. Many residents in Camp Luna were starting to receive water and water pressure. But I wanted to give an update on what caused it, where we're at, and the plan to move forward from here. I've seen a lot of comments and questions and concerns from the community. I've sat down with about a dozen residents of Camp Luna, been able to communicate with many of them to be able to answer many of their questions and provide them some information. So first thing I'd like to start with is a quick overview of our system. We have 3 tanks. We have the cabin site tank, the Luna tank, and the Valencia tank. Each tank feeds a zone below it. We're purely a gravity-fed system. So in June or July, approximately June or July, due to the age of the cabin site tank, which is our primary tank, it's a 40-plus-year-old tank, we took it offline for about a 7-month rehab, which involves draining the tank, cutting into the tank, inspecting the inside, repairing and replacing many of the pieces of the tank that are aging or rotting to ensure that that tank can give the community another 40-plus years of quality service. It was a critical project. It is a critical project. To not have moved forward with it could potentially have led someday to a failure of that tank, which at that point would result in months of impact to the community. So that tank has currently been offline, and since it is a 5 million gallon tank, the way our system operates is that 5 million gallons is a buffer. It's a supply. So if there ever are water leaks or impacts to the treatment system or operations where we need to take the plant down for a little while, the community is never impacted because we have that 5 million gallons, which is about a 3 to 4 day buffer for the community. Since we took the tank offline to rehabilitate it, we do not currently have that 5 million gallon buffer. So as similar result as to what happened, different cause, but similar result as to what happened in November is when there was an issue within the system, which in this case was leak related. The tank, the volume of supply was not there to provide that buffer. So there was an immediate impact to Luna residents starting Sunday, as we've continued to try and produce as much water as we can to keep up with a few things. One is to keep up with the leaks we're still experiencing. 2 is on Saturday evening into Monday morning, there was a leak at the transfer station. The fire protection system suffered a leak, and a lot of water was lost there. As soon as we found that leak, we addressed it, isolated it, but that amount of water that was lost in that leak is something that we're currently having to recover from by producing as much water as we can produce and fill the lines that were left vacant, the tanks that were lowered, the other 2 tanks that I mentioned, the Camp Luna tank and the Valencia tank, and as well as the leaks that have continued since. Due to the temperature changes, we've had numerous leaks in the plaza, on Bridge Street. We've had leaks on New Mexico, Montezuma, Rio Arriba. I think it was Sapio today. So we've had numerous leaks around town due to the expansion and contraction of our aging infrastructure, which when it expands, when it freezes, sometimes hairline cracks can be created, and then as it contracts, they start to become more prominent, especially as they start to leak. So one was the recovery from the loss of water from the large leak on Saturday, as well as several leaks that we have repaired, and we do continue to have leaks in and around town. My staff are continuing to try new things to try and minimize the impact to Camp Luna, fill up the tanks as rapidly as possible, and address this particular situation. Like I said, I did receive word that at about 4:30 residents started to get water. We're going to continue to, we still have to fill the tanks, we still have to fill the void lines right now, the empty lines. So we're not done. Just because we're able to provide water back to Camp Luna doesn't mean that this is over with yet. The cabin site tank project is currently scheduled to be turned over to the city January 28th. So that project is coming to a close, and we expect to be able to start filling the tank in February. And I couldn't give you a time frame for how long it'll take to fill the tank, but it will be turned back over to the city so we can start the process of refilling that tank. I would like to comment on and thank Big R supplied a 1,500 gallon tank to the county to be able to assist the Luna residents with water. And Mike Salazar, Big R are very much, there's a lot of appreciation to go their way for working that out. They donated the tank on a temporary basis to be able to assist the residents. The city of Las Vegas has purchased, I believe, we're at about 100 to 150 cases of water with an open PO, so we can purchase more water, bottled water, for the residents of Camp Luna who are in need of bottled water. The city manager and the mayor opened up the rec center so that any residents in Luna who need assistance, who need access to showers, that's at no charge. We are also making available, if any residents are unable to get transportation there, we can work with the transportation department. So I do appreciate all the departments. As a matter of fact, I think it was Tuesday, right after our directors meeting, every employee that was not critical to another job were out in their city vehicles, driving around town, helping to look for leaks, getting out of their vehicles, walking through the snow, looking for water in the ditches and the arroyos and the areas around town. And we did find several leaks thanks to those staff members. So I want to show my great appreciation to Public Works, Senior Center, Community Development, the city manager, and many of the city employees that went above and beyond during this stressful time and challenging time, which has been a tremendous inconvenience, more than an inconvenience to the residents of Camp Luna. I profusely apologize for what they're having to go through right now. My staff have been working long hours to fix leaks through the night, into the morning, in the cold and wet temperatures, because it's the right thing to do. My water distribution manager is currently out with my treatment plant manager. They're going through every PRV that we have, which is a pressure reducing valve. They're going through every pit and every void that we have to try and locate any other impacts to the system which are contributing to this issue. I've had a lot of people ask me, I've seen the questions on Facebook, and they've asked me in person, what's your long-term solution? This is a short-term problem that is exacerbated. Thank you, sir. Exacerbated by the lack of the 5 million gallon tank. So with the rehabilitation and putting the 5 million gallon tank back online, that again will give us that 3 to 4 day buffer, which is a tremendous benefit and allows us to deal with these kind of things which happen. We do have water leaks, we do have maintenance issues, we do have to take the plant down every now and then to rehabilitate the filters or do any operations maintenance and cleaning. And it does impact the city a lot more when we don't have that 5 million gallon tank. But again, I'll say that was a much needed project, and it was, as I mentioned to the council when I requested approval on it, I knew that there was a possibility, and I was really hoping we would get all the way through the 7 months without it, and we got all the way up to November. And unfortunately, it wasn't all the way. So that is the situation. Like I said, until we completely fill the tanks and completely fill the lines and all the voids and all the empty service lines and transmission lines, this is still an evolution that we're working on. I do hope that this does not impact Camp Luna anymore. I can't guarantee it until we fill all of the tanks. And I also cannot guarantee that it won't impact the behavioral health or anybody else on the line, but we're doing everything we can to produce maximum water, find all of the leaks, fix them as we find them, or isolate them. We did, unfortunately, have to isolate some of our local businesses and residences over the last few days, because we found leaks in their homes. And how we did that is with the AMR system that the council approved a few years ago. When we send out staff members on one day, we get a reading, and if we send them out 24 hours later, we can get a 24-hour reading for what has gone through their system, and we are able to locate potential high consumption, which leads us to do more investigation to determine if there was a leak. And we did find a few leaks that way as well.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Questions? Councilor Ulibarri?
Ms. McGarry, so you had a water leak at Luna since Saturday, right?
There is not a water leak at Luna.
Okay.
There are leaks.
Water since when?
We've actually had leaks since about mid-December.
Okay.
We've had leaks in homes that we've had to isolate. Sometimes it takes a little time to isolate it. Some homes we weren't aware of. The larger leak occurred at the transfer station between Saturday afternoon, evening, into Monday morning.
Because I had some calls on Saturday morning that they didn't have any water pressure out there. Anyway, what I'm looking at is, I know you got a tank from Vigor. Do you have any plan to have one at site at the city somewhere in the city that we could carry water to the Luna, or in case something like that would happen again, or anywhere else around the
Currently, I do not have a tank that size. I know that the one that the county is currently using, and again, big thanks to the county. The one the county is using is a loaner. I do not have one at utilities. That is something to consider. But I'm also wanting to make sure everybody's aware that this is, once we get the Luna or the cabin site tank back online, it'll be like it was before June when we took it offline, or we'll have plenty of time to address it, assess it, and respond to it. I just don't have that time right now. So I will be thinking about how much money we want to put into a tank that we may or may not use again. What I did do was the utilities standpipe was made available to all Luna residents as well at no charge, and that we would bring water to the residences as we could, meaning we were bringing bottled water to them. And then I did also ask some of the residents if there's anybody who is homebound and unable to get around to get to the utilities, let us know, and we would work with them. But I do have to again show appreciation because Commissioner Garcia stepped up and was able to acquire a tank that helped out the entire community.
Maybe you could consider something like that. Maybe a
Yes, sir.
service tank,
I will.
just for in case something can happen again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Counselor Casey.
Thank you. Maria, first of all, I want to thank you for all the hard work that you and everybody, really stepped up to the plate. And I visited with some of the workers myself personally, and saw them Sunday on the way to church, and they were exhausted because they had been up all night working in the cold and wet, and we need to take that into consideration. Also, I know people are very upset, but our employees really, really work very, very hard. My question is, our pipes in Las Vegas are pretty old.
Yes, ma'am. Some of them are. Yes.
Yeah. So, do we have a contingency plan for other emergencies that might occur?
Yes. So one of the things we're working on, and it was a project that the council approved a couple of months ago, is called a leak detection program. We're in the process of closing on the requisition for that and signing the contracts, and that's where we have a contractor that helps go around, and they're specialists in this area. They help us to prioritize and find the lines that are more likely to fail, and we can then assess them and determine, do we need to hire a contractor? And by the way, we did have a contractor come in over the weekend as well. With all the number of leaks we had a contractor who dropped everything and came in on a Saturday and fixed some city lines as well, worked on some housing lines, some lines at housing on Apache. So we do have a plan for that. And that's also where we look at, I know some people were wondering the quality, the professionalism and the abilities of our staff. Our staff have 50 plus years, maybe close to 100 years of combined experience with all types of piping from ductile iron to PVC, and these gentlemen have a tremendous amount of experience in determining what needs to be done to isolate, to repair, to replace. As a matter of fact, one of the leaks that you saw in the plaza, because of the age of the lines, we actually couldn't find this second valve. It was not on any maps, and they started isolating the area, and that could not be isolated. So we had a vendor provide us, within a few hours, a piece of equipment that allowed us to install a valve in a live line so that we could isolate that leak. And thanks to Public Works for picking that up from Albuquerque for us. Thanks to the vendor for providing it to us based on my word. And the city manager for helping us with the procurement side for the emergency. And following all proper procedures, but also addressing it as an emergency as it is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Counselor Powell.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Gilberry, thank you for all the updates you're giving us. Regarding updates, can you give us a status update on what had happened with trash pickup and snow removal? Please.
I'll speak to the trash pickup first. We did have routes that were impacted by the snow. Staff get one guaranteed holiday off every year, and that's Christmas. That's the only holiday where they do not come into work. Every other holiday, New Year's, Thanksgiving, we still have drivers come in, pick up the trash. So they didn't come in on Tuesday, which was going to shift Christmas week's trash by approximately 1 day. We did have the snowstorm, which started coming in on Friday, so the Thursday's trash that was going to be picked up on Friday, which is Madam Mayor's trash, was unable to be picked up until we could make the roads safe for the 20-ton trucks. We have many roads that, even with a slight incline, those trucks can start sliding. So we do have to absolutely make sure that they're safe. The drivers did go out and immediately said this is unsafe, and they came back. So as soon as the roads were able to be driven on, which doesn't, even with Public Works removing the snow, sometimes there's additional time that's needed to be able to make the roads safe. And so as soon as the roads were safe, they started going out. Some roads are still hard for the drivers to go up and down, so I sent, I talked to my solid waste manager, Lucas Marquez, and he started taking his guys out in pickup trucks. So we picked up as many as we could. Yes, we were behind on many of them. Yes, we missed some. We went back and we will continue to pick up trash at no. Normally when we have to do a second pickup in a week, we charge. We're not doing any extra charges. We're going to continue to pick up people's trash for the next few weeks as long as they have trash, to make sure that we got all the trash we should have picked up in December and in early January, to make sure that we do provide the services that the customers are expecting. They may not get the trash picked up, and they didn't get the trash picked up on the day they expected, but we will still pick up all of the trash that they need us to pick up and deliver to the landfill. And I believe we have another snowstorm coming in, so we're preparing for that as well. I will tell all of our customers that we will pick up whatever trash we can as quick as we can, with this, number one, the safety of my staff and the citizens as a priority. I don't need any of those 20-ton trucks sliding into somebody's vehicle or somebody walking along the side of the street. And we'll continue to, if we have to, pick up by hand, and we'll do what we can. But sometimes customers will be delayed and impacted. I know that Albuquerque, I was getting communications and reports from Albuquerque. They were in much the same situation, and they had 2 inches of snow. And they were delayed for I believe, about a week. I really don't like it when my customers are impacted, when our customers are impacted. But there's sometimes things are out of our control, and we'll do the best we can to catch up with them.
In regards to the snow removal, do we have enough personnel that is able to work the snow removal equipment properly?
I can speak only a little bit about the snow removal because that is a Public Works tasking, but I do know that when it comes to the need for snow removal, Water Department also showed up to use their backhoes and their equipment to try and assist in removing snow. Gas Department helped show up with some dump trucks so that we could remove the snow that was piling up in the middle. So that becomes an evolution that utilities and Public Works both work together, and sometimes it's exhausting, especially now when my staff have gone from snow removal to water leaks. So I can only speak for what my staff do, and they do go out and assist with the snow removal as much as they can. I can't speak to what Public Works puts on the ground. I can't speak to anything else other than that. But I do know that the guys were out many hours as I signed their payrolls and looked at their timesheets, and they were out there for an enormous amount of hours.
Do we have enough equipment for the snow removal?
I couldn't answer that.
I'll have to turn that over to City
May we,
Manager.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, we have Christy Dolarte and Danny, I believe it's Danny that is here. I'd like them to come up,
Okay.
because those are good questions that we
Maria,
have.
could you stay seated for in case
Absolutely.
Councilor Romero has any questions for you? And also for in case the council has follow-up questions for you. All three of you. Thank you very much.
Mayor, council members.
Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen, for all that you do. Thank you, Maria.
Yeah.
And I'll start off, Madam Mayor, members of the council, one of the issues that we did have was we talked a little bit about bringing in contractors if need be. These gentlemen here were confident that they could do the snow removal that needed to be done. Unfortunately, we had 3 back-to-back snowstorms. They came in and on December the 27th at 9 o'clock in the evening when it started. And I don't think anyone took time off other than to do a little rest up. And I believe on January the 1st, they worked 5 hours and then took off. But we did focus on the roadways, and what I heard, because I was in constant contact with them, was they'd come in, they would clean out roadway, and am I correct in stating 2 hours later, it was covered once again, and so they were having to go back again. And I'll turn it over to them because I think that they're out there, they're out in the field, and I think they can answer your questions more clearly.
As far as the snow removal, it was falling faster than we could clean the roads, so we tried to keep up with it, and there was a point there that we got ahead of us, but slowly but surely we did catch up on it. I mean, it was turning to ice, so that's a little bit harder in some of the machines to take it off. And as far as equipment, we do have enough employees to go ahead and snow removal. And thanks to utilities, because they did come out a lot, and they did help us remove the snows, the windrows that we did put in the middle, no? So we did take care of it as good as we can, and I think we did a heck of a job.
Thank you.
Some of the roadways that I asked this question just because it was a lot, we were getting a lot of calls on streets, the side streets, but we really try to focus on the main roadways, the medical facilities, the main roadways, and then of course the schools, if any of the schools are open. Of course, we didn't have the openings of the schools at that time, so we really focused on the medical facilities and the main roadways. The side streets, and that's why Maria was having the problem, because it was her pickups, her equipment that couldn't get into the side streets, and I think we were all impacted that way. But as far as equipment, I think that they used the equipment that was that they were in need of. One of the nice things, and you people, I don't mean to brag, but one of the things that we really need to brag about is the teamwork that these people do. Utilities, public facilities. We had people from the parks and the park center.
The whole city together, they all worked together as far as removal.
It was just a team effort. If one couldn't go out, then the other one came out with, of course, the equipment from utilities as well as our equipment.
Thank you very much.
I know, just a
He still has a floor.
Absolutely.
I know the whole community throughout this whole year have been praying for moisture. And the good Lord listened to us. And
3 snowstorms.
So thank you very much for all you do.
And I think we had predicted, the cold weather had been predicted this summer. I think it was that we were going to have the cold weather, and lo and behold, 3 snowstorms with the temperatures going down. And I know that it was difficult for everyone but these gentlemen did everything that they could and I do believe that they were out at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. Chief Bibb called me up at 2:30 in the morning. He said he was going to be up early, and lo and behold, it was 2:30 in the morning when he thought that there was a safety issue throughout Las Vegas. And so we work well together, and we did the best we could. We had seen that we needed any kind of contractors, and I'm in constant contact with these 3 individuals, I would have immediately called in contractors if need be. That would not have been a hesitation on my part.
Thank you. Councilor Casey.
Thank you. I just wanted to do a little bit of follow-up. I wanted to ask, who cleans the road that goes to our transfer station when there's snow?
The utilities department will actually start to try and clear the snow when they can. I'll have to talk to Lucas and find out who did it that day. I know Public Works has a lot of roads to cover, so utilities will try and start clearing our roads and our areas first from us, and then go help Public Works with any additional roads. But I will verify with Lucas.
I'm just curious because we drove out there and that road was like a solid sheet of ice. And I was like, how can
Yes.
we?
You guys went out there?
How can they
Okay.
get in here?
That's actually in the county.
Yeah, it's
isn't
in the
it?
county.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking because.
DOT
that's a-
does the, went to the airport and the county does that,
Yeah.
to the solid waste.
So I'll have to find out. We try and get to our own roads first because we
Yeah.
know that
Well, yeah.
the county and Public Works have a lot of other roads to get to. I'll verify they probably cleaned it, and then with a lot of the ice melt, we're still getting sheets of ice around town even
Yeah,
now.
I know. But that road was really very dangerous, and I thought, how can they even get anything
Right.
over there with the roads the way they are, especially in the large trucks? And I want to thank everybody that worked, and I personally want to thank Mr. Rodarte, because I called in about a handicapped person that was unable to get out of their house, and he went over there himself and he shoveled the snow for that person. And talk about going above and beyond, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I didn't even know at that time that we do have a list of disabled or handicapped people, and that those people, the city does make sure that they're taken care of in situations like that. So I really appreciate that very much. Mr. Gurule, thank you also for your hard work. I know people were extremely upset and very critical about, the condition of the streets and the trash, and I had an earful of, like, I don't know how many phone calls I got one day. I would say probably close to about 30 or 40.
Yes.
And so I want to thank you all for the work that you did, and I know that it was very difficult, and I just want you to know that I appreciate it.
Councilor Romero.
I just, I want to add to, I think we all have received those phone calls as well as, here at City Hall, and I'm sure you as directors have all received those calls about, the anger that the community has as far as everything that we've gone through. And it's tough, and I want to say this and make this clear, is that I don't blame the employees at all. You guys were out there and working hard. I think, Christy, you're still trying to catch up on sleep, as well as the water guys. Long term, we don't see that. Those guys were, if you ever worked in water leaks, that water's cold to begin with,
Yes.
to the temperature. Knock on wood, that none of those guys get sick and we run into another emergency, because what happens then? So first of all, thank you to all the employees for going above and beyond. And of course, we're not always going to hear those stories. Thank you, Ms. Casey, Councilor Casey, for bringing up that story. But there's questions that as councilors, we're asked of us, and we're going to ask to you. And don't take this personally at all. Some of the questions that I'm going to ask. And one of the things is, I know Councilor Howell brought up, the staffing. Are we short employees, and is that one reason? Another one that I'm going to ask is, CDLs. Do we have enough guys with CDLs to work those trucks? And the last but not least question is, we haven't had a storm like this in 10 years?
Yes, sir.
9 inches is the most.
I know we have a lot of experience, like you two individuals and some of the guys in the back, but we have new guys too that have come on the board. And the question that I ask, have those new guys been given the proper training in snow removal? Because not anybody can jump on a truck and remove snow the proper way. So those are questions that I ask to the city manager. If they're not, let's ensure that those, so we're prepared for next time. The other thing is, proper communication, and I'm not, of course, to the public, but I think also with the other entities, the highway department, the county. I saw, welcome Commissioner Garcia. I saw him sort of nodding his head when you guys mentioned something. That's the counties, and so I don't know, if maybe that communication isn't there. And I know, Christy, you've developed some relationships, but at the same time, you haven't been, a year, I think, right, in the position. So there's still a little more, relationship building that we need as a city. And I think, the same thing with Mills and 7th Street between Grand and Mills. There was a lot of, that's the highways, that's the cities, and I have friends that work at the highway, and I was asking them, how come you guys aren't cleaning? Oh, that's the cities. So I think we need to sit down and bridge those gaps, because we think as a community we all need to work together. With the DOT, the county, the city, and in talking with some of the guys from the highway department, and I know Commissioner. He's also, said, let's work together instead of everybody, let's focus on our own. And, that's the problem I think that we have, again, me, myself, I think, everybody's new in their positions, and it takes time to build those relationships and trust. And Thank you, Chief. I know even you got involved as, as the chief and, trying to do some of that. But, thank you to the employees. And I think those are just questions that as we move on, we need to make sure those plans are in place and everything. Everybody knows, like I said, this storm was a storm that took us, we haven't had in such a long time. Yes, we've had 3-4 inches, but the storm, like you said, it was 3 storms. And then on top of the, the trash issue that we had, the landfill, all those things just took us by storm. And I think we need to, come together and, the employees that work there, again, give them, my kudos because, hopefully none of those guys get sick and because if, we do get that next snowstorm and this happens again, then we're even in worse, worst scenario. So thank you. And Madam Mayor, those are just the issues that I have, and hopefully as we move forward, those are addressed.
Thank you very much. I'd like to speak at this moment. First of all, I want to thank our newly elected Commissioner, Harold Garcia. Would you stand up? Thank you very much for delivering the water. And also thank you for working with the city employees. It's a team effort. We've been collaborating for many years. You've been part of the city in the past, and you are currently part of the county, and I know that you're a great asset to the county, and you will also continue to be a great asset to the city of Las Vegas. We're very grateful to have you, and I'm very happy that you were elected as well. Congratulations. On another note, Maria, I know you've done an exceptional job with the water situation, the leaks. You're doing all that you can. The employees, each and every one of you, you're fully aware of the list of handicapped individuals in the community. I know sometimes you can't just get off your equipment and go and clean a yard, but what we do is I have a few individuals that I know, that young gentlemen that were out there volunteering, and 5 of them exactly, were out there volunteering and cleaning yards for people that were disabled. So we couldn't get to all of them. I personally was delivering blankets to each and every one that I could find, or maybe their systems were down, they were having situations, but we did what all of us stepped in. The commissioners did as well. I know Councilor Casey was delivering water. I don't know about the rest of you, but I know all of you were involved in some form or another. I want to thank the city manager for doing an outstanding job. And I also want to speak to the issue of DOT and the county. The city has always had an incredibly good relationship with DOT. I personally spoke to Yvonne Higgins. She is their informational individual over there, and we were collaborating. I know Christy, you were, and I know Daniel, you were, and I also know Maria, you were. Now, I think we're all fully aware of the fact that Mills is a city street, owned street. And so, but they did help us regardless. There were some areas that they extended their services to assist us. And we're very grateful to the Department of Transportation. I want to thank Yvonne, and I want to thank all their employees. I also want to thank the county, because I believe the county was very instrumental in helping us as well. There's certain areas in the ETZ area that we continue to address. And unfortunately, Luna does fall within the ETZ area. And I know, Maria, you've been trying to isolate the actual leaks, and you're doing all that you can. That's all we can do. This is something that we should be grateful for. The snow is wonderful. The rain is wonderful. But if it's exorbitant at this point in time, and we can only do what we can do to continue to provide those services to the city. And I felt terrible that there was some individuals who were impacted with no service. They continue to be impacted with no service. I know that there's been water taken. I know, Maria, you and Anne-Marie opened up a PO. We're purchasing the water that we need to take to those individuals, and they're very grateful. I had about 7 individuals from that the day before the meeting. They were contemplating showing up or not showing up, but then I got some messages now, and they're very thankful for the water that you did deliver. So thank you very much, each and every one of you. And of course, Commissioner Garcia, thank you as well. And I know that there is collaboration. There was a lot of individuals publicly that were very upset. I even got on Facebook and attempted to calm the situation down. It's not easy. It's not easy for any one of us. We all get a lot of calls, like Councilor Casey has stated, and a lot of the council here today, but we are doing as much as we can to minimize the situation and move forward with providing service to the city. I also just received a text message from Senator Pete Campos, and he said that he's contacted the governor's office seeking assistance and indicating the emergency situation for the city of Las Vegas just now, a few minutes ago. So he will be calling me. We will be setting up a meeting, Ms. Gallegos. Yes. and we're going to see what we can do. I did state to him that possibly we would need additional assistance from DOT, county, or other individuals, and hopefully they can provide some services on an emergency basis if need be to the city, the county, and DOT, so we can work more collaboratively and remove snow removal as quickly as possible, and also not impact adversely the services to the constituents within the city and also within the ETZ area and the county. We're all working together, we're all moving forward, and I'm very grateful to each and every one of you. The hard work, the commitment, the dedication is unprecedented. And I want to thank each and every one of you for all that you do. We're so fortunate to have the employees that we have. Christy, I know that I'll just call you and you'll go jump, and I am so grateful to you for what you do. Maria, the same thing. And we're doing all we can. Anne Marie, I know you stay on top of things. You get out there, you're looking at leaks. We can't ask for any more. And all we can do is continue to work as hard as we can and continue to provide the services that we can for the people. And I empathize for those of you who are suffering, and we're doing the best that we can, and we will continue to improve the services. Thank you very much, and thank you, Chief and Esther, and all of us are working together as a team. Okay, shall we move on? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Shall we move on with the agenda? The next item on the agenda is public input. Madam Mayor, members of the council. The first one on the agenda is Cisco Rubio on water tank compliance. You come. Yes, yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Rubio. How are you doing?
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I reside at 532, well, my full name is Hilario Francisco Rubio III. I reside at 532 Hermosa Circle, Las Vegas, which is part of Camp Luna. Speaking on behalf of our residents up there, or majority of residents I've spoken with and contacted today, we found out about the meeting, so that's why we're here. And, our concerns, especially, we have a lot of elderly and homebound folks that could not be at the meeting, so I'd like to speak and share some of their concerns. First, I do want to thank Maria and her staff and for all the work they've done. We did receive water was restored close to 5 p.m. today. I do want to thank Commissioner Garcia and Big R for the water tank and delivering water. We thank you for that. And our biggest things, our concerns are that this is the third time that it has happened in the last few months. We had 2 weekends in a row in November, I think the 23rd, that we had 2 days without water, Saturday, Sunday, and again, I think the following weekend. And then, of course, now from Sunday morning till now on Wednesday afternoon, evening. The points I do want to come across and make is that notification, especially on the weekends, we need to find a notification system. I know there's notification via social media, but not many of us are on social media. And so if there's a way these flyers that have been posted can be delivered, even if they're delivered to myself and I can get those out to our neighbors, but some sort of notification system, especially on the weekends. I know it's hard to know when the time frame for water to be restored, but just kind of knowing what's going to take place or what could take place is very important to us. As far as this water tank being rehabbed, I found out about that Monday when I called, and I didn't understand that, so the presentation was very helpful. I didn't know if that project could be moved up any sooner so that tank could be finished sooner, so that way we can not have to really worry as much. The next concern we have is how long will this rehab be good for? I don't know if it has to be it seems like it's a cleaning type rehab if it has to be done every so many years. And again, as Councilman Ulibarri pointed out, if there's a backup tank or something that could be purchased for us, that would be greatly appreciated. And then somebody else asked me about adjustments, if any adjustments will be done to our billing because going X amount of days without water. Also people that run on heating systems, that if they don't have any water in those heating systems, that they can fail, and how, if there would be any recourse they could seek the city for that. And then basically looking at the biggest point we have to make is notification. How can we be notified other than social media? So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rubio.
Yes.
The next person is Mr. Art Trujillo.
He's I'm sorry?
Mr. Art Trujillo.
He's left?
He left? Yes.
I can't hear you.
Well, I didn't sign up, but may I take his spot?
Okay,
And we didn't either, we didn't.
we usually don't allow anyone if you don't sign up for public input. That's consistent with our policy. How many do we have that didn't sign? 4 of you? Can we have one representative speak on behalf of all 4? I'm opening it up, and that's against policy, but we'll allow you to speak. One of you, can one of you represent? Okay. Is that okay? I'm sorry.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, elected and appointed city officials. Thank you for your time. As Hilario said, as a concerned citizen, taxpayer, we are obviously, yes, very concerned. I want to reiterate what he said about being notified as to when these things are going to occur. Maybe somebody, even just call 1 or 2 of us and we could call everybody else, or have somebody come around to our homes. Again, this is the 3rd time. I also am not just a resident of the community, but I also work at the college. So, and I'm the director of education, so we are affecting also our preschool clients in addition to all the other students. So we just want to make sure that we do have that communication. I want to commend the people that everyone I called actually returned my call. Mayor, you returned your call, and we spoke on the phone for a while. I talked to our newly elected commissioner, and I told him, I know that this is out of your jurisdiction, but what can you do? And he moved quickly and got us water. And the gentlemen that were coming over last night and giving everybody water was great. I called Senator Pete Campos. I called Representative Salazar, who both returned my phone calls. I asked them, I even tried to call the governor, just because of the fact that I know that the legislative session is about to start. And we're hoping that maybe they could somehow or another put up a bill for some emergency funds or something to get things going so that we don't need to go through this again. We do recognize the hard work of everyone who works to rectify these situations, but I don't think I need to remind you, however, I will say again, that it is very, very dangerous for us not to have water. If there's a fire, we are completely at a loss, especially we're up in the mountain. I mean, the fire gets started and we're all greatly at risk. Elderly people who are there can get sick. I mean, I'm very healthy, but I also, have been suffering headaches and whatnot. I'm sure everyone else has their own crazy stories, but I can assure that the community who is many of us very educated, and whether we are or not, very willing to be part of the solution and help in any way, shape, or form to rectify these situations, especially so that it doesn't happen again. Hearing what she said, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. From Maria said earlier was actually very educational, and we appreciate that. I don't know, I hope I didn't miss anything from the community.
I'll allow you.
But I hope I didn't miss anything. We hadn't had a chance to speak with each other to present our collective concerns, but I think that many of them are some. Thank you for your time.
For being here. And again, thank you for your incredible patience. We're doing all we can to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ortega. Maria Galveri wanted to add something?
Well, do we have any other individuals in public input?
Not regarding water. We
Okay,
have-
then let's have Maria Estrada.
I just wanted to add one thing. I appreciate the concerns and the information, the additional things that we can work on. But I did want to let the community know and the council know that we immediately got with the fire department, so they were very well aware that we were without water. And they have tenders that have water so that we would be able to address any emergency situations in Camp Luna. So when we do have abnormal situations like this, we immediately get with police and fire and try and make sure that anything that would be impacted by the loss of water or any other services, we find alternatives. And I wanted to address that one because I know that one's a big concern, and we've made sure that the fire is already aware of the water situation.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to raise a question that there was an issue of notification. I even spoke to the president at Luna, and he never received notification. So I think it's important. We're relying right now at this point in time with social media, which is great, but we have to get it out to the radios. We have to go door to door, especially in a situation that is a dire situation that could adversely impact the health and safety of the residents. We have to ensure that we get those notifications out there. If we have to go door to door, we can get a team of individual volunteers to help us. Okay, thank you very much.
Could I just ask those that were affected, I can ask a question?
Well, I
Just
wanted
real
to
quick.
continue, but go ahead.
Just real quick, mobile app, is that something that everybody you think would have access to? Of course, not social media, but a mobile app or?
No. Well, we've got to focus
The
on.
radio station would be a good idea.
Exactly.
You know, all of us.
That's what we're working on. We discussed
That's
that
all I
today with the city manager, so we're moving forward though. And again, we will notify you. We will do everything we can to get the news out there. Okay, thank you very much.
And what we have tried to do, Madam Mayor, members of the council, is to send out PSAs on a daily basis, specifically to our radio stations, our Facebook accounts, and so, but can we do it better? Absolutely, we can.
Absolutely.
And so we'll work on that, absolutely. We'll work on a better system, and we'll move forward with it.
And the city website.
City's website,
Exactly.
we post continuously, but can we do things better? We can. Yes, we can.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
patience.
The next person on the public input is Mr. Marshall Poole for Animal Welfare.
Okay,
Mr. Poole.
thank you very much.
Thank you,
Good
Madam
evening,
Mayor.
Mr. Poole.
Madam Mayor, city councilors, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to yourself.
We finished out last year with our statistics of what we've done, and we were able to increase our live outcome rate. That is, if an animal comes into the shelter alive, what's the chance that it's going to be able to be placed in a good home, to 93.6%. That's more than 2% increase over last year, over 2017. And when you're at 91%, it's hard to get those extra 2%. So I think we regard that as a real success. And that puts us among the top shelters in the state. So we're very pleased with that. In December, we took in 109 animals. That's 3.5 animals a day, average. 79 dogs, 32 puppies, 29 cats, including 6 kittens. We returned 13 animals to their owner guardians. And here again, the biggest challenge we have is we do not have these animals identified. We adopted 14 animals locally. We trapped 11 feral or wild cats. Normally we trap as many as 30 cats a month, but because of weather and so on in December, we were able to do only 11. We transported 33 dogs to 5 different agencies in Colorado and elsewhere. And we transported 24 citizen-owned dogs and cats for a low cost, that is $25 or free spay and neuter to Santa Fe. We had one family who lost their home due to a fire, and I think they're living with family right now, but we supplied a free dog house and straw and dog food for them so that they could continue to care for their animal, and we are going to spay or neuter their dog at no cost. Total figures for 2018, we trapped or neutered 244 community cats, and either returned them to the community if the citizens wanted them returned to the community, or sent them out as barn cats to rural areas. And we provided free or low-cost spay and neuter services to 201 citizen animals throughout the year. That's either low-cost $25 or waive the fee if they have trouble paying that. We also just got notice that we've received a $21,400 grant from PetSmart Charities for spay and neuter in the community, which will allow us to expand by about 288 animals our ability to spay and neuter animals inside the city. So, and that will be either at a low cost, $25, or free to the citizens, because that includes transportation to Santa Fe, spay and neuter in the Santa Fe Satellite Clinic, and then transportation back here and all medications and so on.
3 minutes.
So, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Poole.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. The next item on the agenda, Madam Mayor, members of the council, is the discussion items. Number 1 is the Traffic Safety Bureau grant funds for Las Vegas Police Department for overtime to conduct and DWI, buckle up, and the step operations throughout the city. We have Mr. David, Police Chief.
Madam Mayor, esteemed councilors, the Traffic Safety Bureau grant is what funds the overtime projects that are outlined here, to include the Selective Traffic Enforcement Program. And I know our officers are very enthusiastic on these programs.
Okay, questions, comments?
I'm glad that we're getting some money for that.
Very good.
It's important.
Indeed.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the council? Consent?
Consent.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council, Chief Bibb. Number 2 is resolution number 1902, assuring the availability of funds for the lease purchase of a new 2018 Elgin Whirlwind dual boom sweeper. And we have Mr. Danny Goulet.
Madam Mayor, council members,
Good evening again.
Madam
Good evening
Manager.
again. Danny.
I'm here to seek the approval of resolution 1902 for a sweeper. This will be a vacuum sweeper, which is going to help us with the leaves and stuff like that. The sweeper right now that we have, there's a lot of stuff that's not picking up. So this sweeper that we are going to be trying to get will help a lot with the leaves. It'll leave the streets a lot more cleaner with both of them going. And it's time for any questions.
Questions, comments?
Question.
Jeff first. Councilor Lee.
Chris, on the old super that we have, what are you going to do with that? What are the plans to do with that?
Well, the sweeper that we do have now, it is being leased out, and after the lease runs out within, I think we've got a year, year and a half. It's a 5-year lease.
Okay.
And once it's there, we either have an option of purchasing it, paying one lump sum, and it'll be ours, which right now it's in good running condition. And either that, or we could give it back, and that's basically up to, I'll leave it to Henry on that one. And right now with that one, I think it'd be really good to actually get it. It's a good sweeper.
Councilor Casey. Are you done, Councilor Lee? I'm sorry.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you have the streets that need to be swept, or, you have routes that you.
Yeah,
can
we
take.
do have routes, a weekly route. We'll start off with like Ward 1, Ward 2, 3, and 4, and then we just jump around that way. But with 2 sweepers going at one time, we could go ahead and cut that route in half, and we could have one on one side and one on the other side. And then when it comes to the leaves and stuff like that, with both of them going, the leaves will be a lot easier than it is now because the hopper only holds so much, and this sweeper is supposed to compact the leaves in there and bring it, and it'll do it. And as well as that, the one from the wastewater, where if they need to clean storm drains and stuff like that, they can clean it. It'll have a vacuum in the back as well.
What I've seen is during my past 2 years that I've been in the council, the sweepers that we have, burn after all that, when we needed a mama, it was broken down, or you had certain days that you go out and sweep the streets or what.
Well, right now, the sweepers should be out there every day, but with the weather
Right,
the way it
I
is,
understand, I can
yeah,
understand.
that one we do have to let it sit till the weather gets a little bit better before we could put it out. It does pick up wet but the snow and stuff like that, it's not really gonna do too much to it, no. But once we get the other one too, we're gonna have both of them out, and we do have an operator that does want to operate it.
I was just concerned on the one that we have, the one that you're using now. I know it was a lease, like,
Yeah, it's a lease to own, and that's basically, we'll leave it up to our city manager when it comes to that point if we do want to purchase it. And in the condition it is right now, it's still a very good machine. But this other sweeper right now would help, and especially the lease.
Thank you very much, Councilor Casey.
Thank you. So the sweeper that we have now, does it suck up the stuff?
No, that's just, it has the gutter brooms, and it just basically pushes it where it pushes into a big room, and it pushes out a hopper. It's just a giant belt, and it pushes into a hopper. The one that we're trying to lease to purchase as well, it'll have a vacuum.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I really like that because, I'm sorry to say this, but whenever, we can tell when the whole sweeper has been out because all it does is it rearranges the dirt in nice little patterns, but it doesn't pick it up. And so people call me up and they say, what's the sense of running the sweeper when it doesn't do anything? And I'm like, sorry, we're trying. So I was very happy to see that. But my question is, the new sweeper is, we have to pay $31,944.77 now, and then $5,276.98 a month. And it's already been budgeted for this fiscal year. That's $63,323.76 a year times 5 years is $316,618.80. So how much would it cost if we just bought it outright?
Basically on that one right there, I think it's not gonna change the price too much because the interest rate, we got it, it wasn't too bad of an interest rate.
Very low. Okay. And so are you recommending that we go ahead and lease it?
Yeah, lease, because it'll have a warranty up to a certain point, and with that warranty, if anything happens to it, we could go ahead and take it back and get it fixed. And once the warranty runs out, then it'll be on us to fix it. But we did go to a class in Albuquerque with the sweepers that they have, and they do have this certain sweeper that we want to purchase or lease out. And with the two of them going, it leaves the streets real clean. We did go through the whole, take some of the operators from here, and we did get a class on how it works, and it does work pretty good.
Yeah, I like the
A lot of
vacuum
people will be
cleaner
happy.
part because it sweeps the dirt
picks up
into the vacuum, and then the vacuum picks it up and takes it in and puts it through the filters, and it's picked up.
Yeah.
I really, really like that, and the schematics that we have really show that that's how it's going to work, so I'm very hopeful about that. At the time that we have to decide whether the cleaner is purchased, at the end of whatever period of time, I think, and you said that the city manager would make that decision, but a large purchase like that should really come before the council.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
And we'll either bring the recommendations, if it's something that the staff would like mayor and council to consider, then we'll bring it back to you, and you can make that, we can, of course, make that decision together and make sure that if we can continue with it and we can keep it if we can operate it for another 2 to 3 years, then more than likely our recommendation would be to purchase it. And what would the outright purchase be?
I think it's the lump sum of 60,000 at the end of 5 years, and it'll be ours.
And if it would be in good condition, then of course we'd come back to mayor and council, because 60,000 is over the limit.
And right now, the way we have it is one operator's operating and he's maintaining it, so it's actually making the piece of equipment last a lot better now. Instead of having a lot of operators jump in it, and this guy moves the buttons a lot different and stuff, and it does break faster that way.
Yeah.
So we just have the one operator, and we plan on doing the same with this one as well.
Oh, that'd be great.
And we do have a backup operator just in case.
So you'll have 2 operators?
Yeah, we'll have 2 for each sweeper now.
Okay, gotcha.
And just to kind of, the Councilor Livarino, they do have a map of where the street sweeper cleans, and I got that from your office,
Yeah, if you need one, we could go ahead and, it's color coded as well as
Yes.
where,
Would
which
you,
side it goes.
Inform the council, would you please?
Oh,
And then provide
Mondays
them a
is
map
gonna
with the
be, Railroad on this side, and then Tuesdays it'll start on Mills towards, A Street Extension. Wednesdays is gonna be from Mills all the way to Independence, I think it is. And Thursday and Friday is gonna be Independence from there to the west side.
Exactly.
They get 2 days.
But we can provide a
A
map
map
for
for you
you.
guys.
Yeah, gladly provide that for you.
It really helps because people sometimes call and say, you know,
When are they cleaning my road?
yeah, when are they cleaning my street? And
Yeah.
so I can answer because I have that map.
Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilor Romero, I believe you had a question?
Yeah, I did, and I get pretty much the same concerns. I think the communication, I don't know if maybe on the website, we can go ahead and place that map. just
Absolutely.
So we could,
You'll get a copy of it. Well, yeah, you're going to get a copy of the actual map this way.
and then the other part, the question that I had, as far as this lease agreement, is there scheduled maintenance included in it?
The scheduled maintenance is basically, we take care of the first, like 500, you change the oil and stuff like that, and we do that ourselves. And then basically, from there, if anything else happens, if it breaks or something major, then we do take it back. But that'll be, I'll have to read up more on that one. I don't know if we have to actually take it or they come and fix it here.
A lot of times they'll come in
Yeah.
and they'll service it here,
Mhm.
especially if it's a minor repair that they have. But since it's a lease purchase, they do warranty it and they will take care of it for the 5-year period.
And the warranty portion, valid since how long is that? 3 years? Just to see how long it is.
I'm sure it's gonna be, I'm sure it's gonna be 200 or 300. I'm gonna say
I
2 or
think
3
they give
years.
us 3 years, and then we have the option to acquire an extension.
Sometimes within at least they.
It does, yeah, come and they do come and they show us, but basically the way we're gonna do it now is we're gonna have 2 operators, we're gonna be operating this one, because it's gonna be, you'll have to have a CDL to use it. So we'll have 2 CDL drivers use it, and whenever one's not there, the other one will go ahead and take over.
But will the company come and?
Yeah, they come out and they'll show us how to use it. And we did get some training while we were up there in Albuquerque as well. And actually, the one that, the vendor that does, from Pizza Equipment, he ran the sweepers for 20, 25 years. That's all he's done, so he's real good. I'll call him up and I'll ask him if anything needs, what I need to do, and he right away gets response to me, and he knows what's wrong with them or what needs to be done. And that keeps us in the budget on that.
Thank you. Councilor Howell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Gurule, the old the sweeper that we have now, I've had community members call me and tell me that the sweeper just went by and there's dust everywhere. So how is this new one going to eliminate that concern?
Well, the sweepers, they do run with pressured water, which they have sprayers. So we're gonna have to check onto this one to make sure that they're putting on the sprayers.
Yeah, the
Because
one that
they're
we have
supposed to-
now, it doesn't have that because.
It's supposed to have a sprayer. I'm gonna have to talk to him.
Yeah,
And the one that we are gonna purchase, it does have a sprayer, which it goes forward and it does spray it, and then it'll push it and suck it out.
We're probably concerned with water.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
But, yeah, that was their major concern. They don't have the sweeper come down our block and then have it all dusty, dust everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look into that. I'm pretty sure that maybe it's not out of water. We'll have to check it out.
Thank you
Thanks.
very much. Okay, what is the pleasure for?
Just one question adding to the question of water. Can effluent be used for that instead of using?
That would be up to.
No, I'm just saying because
We
would
try
it
not
damage
to
it
because
or-
the filters and stuff like that it has,
Exactly.
we rather just run the fresh water just because it'll keep it
That's what
longer
I was
because we
just
do run the filters.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
Consent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bennett. You're still on deck.
I'm sorry. Yes. The next item is resolution number 1903, assuring the availability of funds for the purchase of a new 2019 Ford F-750 bucket truck through Don Chalmers Ford Company and Clark Aerial Lifts. Total price including lift is $220,601.32. And Mr. Danny Gutierrez.
I'm here to seek the approval of Resolution 1903 for the purchase of a new bucket truck. The one that we do have now is giving us a lot of problems, and we do utilize the bucket truck a lot. And I brought Ernest Jaramillo, he's the main operator on that. If you'd like to, any questions, because we have putting a lot of money into it. No?
Good evening, Mr. Jaramillo. How are you doing? Take a seat, please. Okay, Councillor Casey, you have a question.
Thank you. One of them is just kind of a correction, I think. The resolutions, everything says that it's a 2019 truck, but the resolution says purchase a 2018 F. So is it 2019 or 2018?
It's a 2019.
Okay, so then the resolution has to be fixed. And then my other question is, because that 2,220 includes the price of the lift, that's correct?
Yes.
Shouldn't that be also a part of the resolution? Should say,
The way this works is, see, we go through Ford because they're gonna be they're under the state contract, and what they do is they go through Clark, and Clark is the one that provides the aerial part, the lift itself. Yeah, so this whole thing would be paid to Ford is where it goes, and then they'll disperse the funds there that way. Because they don't come with the bucket truck made, you have to actually get it made.
Yeah. So that's an alternate additive, is that correct? And it falls within that
Yeah.
spec, correct? Okay, thank you very much.
and the lift, just from the pictures that were there, they're not, they're kind of like drawings. Does the lift go up this, the truck is here, okay, pointing that way, and the lift goes up like this and down, or how does the lift actually work?
The rear of the vehicle, of the pickup, goes from the rear up, and then from the front up, it extends up to, what is it?
I think it's 52 working height. This one is gonna actually eliminate us, have to get a different vendor to help us with the lights in the park, in the Rodriguez and stuff. This one should actually help us reach all that.
And that'll save us from renting a crane from Franklin.
That's a lot of money that we put
save
out
up
just
money
to
there.
replace those bulbs. That's
And we did get it under CDL, which a lot of the employees, they do get their training on aerial lifts and stuff like that. So his crew will be able to operate it, and as well as streets whenever they need for, tree trimming and stuff.
But that's part of the concern about getting a bucket truck with that height, so that we don't have to rent the crane from Franklin and save more money. And we can go at night and adjust the lights, because Franklin doesn't work at night. So I think that'd be a good investment.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. We're ready to move. Councilor Lemon.
Just one question on the bucket truck. You mentioned, I know you do it for electrical lighting bulbs.
Yes.
And also for the tree trimming. The question as far as for tree trimming and stuff like that, will it have extra support or, just in case for a branch protection? I know
The thing is, the way they position the bucket truck, it's made, they try to position it where it's not gonna fall on the vehicle or anything like that. And this one's gonna have a jib winch, which is actually gonna be, it's like a rope or something you tie, and then it's something.
Yeah, it's a winch.
Yeah.
Wrap the branch or whatever, so it's safer.
And there's a lot of trees that actually are a lot higher than the bucket truck we have right now. And, this bucket truck it needs a.
We're in dire need of a bucket truck.
It's a 2003.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Councilor Olivari.
Daniel, Mr. Jaramillo, on the old truck that you have now, did you guys talk to Clark's equipment to see if they would give you something for the old truck? Because what's going on is a lot of the equipment that's being changed, they end up putting it in the back, and then we have an auction on them, or we sell them for like 4 cents a pound. We don't get nothing for them. Have you tried to ask the companies to see if they could trade them in or something?
What we're planning on doing with this other one is, this one is still, we put so much money into it that it just needs minor repairs, as far as like it needs a water pump now. But we're hoping to utilize that as well and have both of them. Because whenever it comes to him putting up lights and stuff like that, it's hard for one bucket truck to be doing this, and now with the two of them, we could, but it's still, this one, it needs some work, and we're gonna get it inspected, and once we get that inspection, it's not gonna pass, I don't think. Yeah, so it hasn't. Yeah, we're gonna try to use both of them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Howell. No? Okay, what is the
Can I
pleasure
have a
of
quick follow-up?
follow-up? Councilor
Thank you.
Casey.
Just in looking at all this, and it's just a comment, it's not a question, but I think it's rather ridiculous that the way they sell these trucks is that, you have to pay,
Parts.
For the parts. I mean, you have to pay for the transmission, you have to pay for the brakes, you have to pay for the tires. I mean, come on, it should all be a part of the
Truck is a
package
truck.
deal, truck is a truck. And so,
And there's a lot to this truck that they had to do it, they had to keep it underweight to keep it under CDL is what they had to do.
Right.
Before, if it was just a regular, they could have just went and thrown it up, but we're trying to keep it for all the employees that are gonna be utilizing it, they could use it.
I just think it's ridiculous that you have to pay like $395 for seats. It's like, already be a part of the truck.
We don't need seats.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the board?
Consent.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Brunet. Thank you, Mr. Hadley.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
Your input here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Number 4 is award request for bid number 2019-05 for the Mills Building Rehab Project to Stoven Construction Incorporated. We have Ms. Gilberry.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilors, Madam Manager. I'm here today to request approval on awarding the Mills Building Rehabilitation Project to Stoven Construction. This is a project that's been going on for a while. We had WH Pacific plan and design the rehabilitation of the formerly known State Police Building. Now we call it the Utility Building on Mills. We're still trying to get that to roll off everybody's tongue. This project will allow us to be able to occupy the State Police Building. It does not meet ADA. The air conditioning system, the lighting, everything is not to standards. Even some of the electrical has to be upgraded and updated. So we did have WH Pacific plan and design this project. We took it out to bid in, let's see, I believe it was November. In October we advertised, and in November we opened bids. We had 2 respondents. One is Stoven Construction and one is New Image. Stoven did come back with the lowest bid at about $130,000 less than New Image Construction. We did have WH Pacific Research, Stoven, and they do hold a New Mexico license for construction. They do have a really good reputation. We have not used them before, but we are, based on the WH Pacific's knowledge and information they've received on Stoven, we're looking forward to using them in a new project. This project does, as you see, it has 2 alternates. The additive alternates were for additional rooms, 3 additional rooms for additive alternate 1 and 3 additional for additive alternate 2, so that we could keep the bid price within our budget. We will be able at 5 base bid and 2 alternates. We do have the money budgeted for this. This will allow, as we've already brought this before council before, to do the planning and design, to award the planning and design, and this will allow us to move customer service over to an area where we can take better care of our customers. For budgeting, we did, and finance or city manager may be able to address it better, but I do know we did plan for each division to be able to pay a portion of it, so we're able to, and in addition to different divisions being able to supplement it, for several years now, we've been having cash balances, money added to the utilities admin fund, I believe it is, to increase their cash balance for this particular project.
Okay, so if we're using $200,000 of cash balances, then the remaining 255,000 is coming from,
It's already budgeted. There is a line item for buildings, buildings and structures in multiple divisions, budget.
so that's
it's already,
that.
yes.
Okay, so
So we
combining
have a-
those two,
Yes, ma'am.
you'll have enough.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, Councilor Romero?
Going back to Councilor Casey's question, we're reviewing the rates that's in process. Will that affect any future cash balance? We're able, because of the rates that they are now, be able to have the cash balance we have now, but if we lower rates, would that affect future?
Well, in this particular case, this is money that was in previous budgets transferred into the utility admin budget, so it's there. It won't impact this. In the future, that will be part of the consideration that the firm doing the assessment, they will look at our existing cash balances, the future needs, and all the rates for each one of the different divisions. So it won't impact this, but it will be taken into consideration when they do their analysis.
Any other questions, Councilor Howell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Gilberry, did WH Pacific give us a listing of construction jobs that they've had, Stoven Construction? And where are they, so we can take a look at it?
Council, no, I did not ask that from them. I did ask them to do a deep, and it's actually a requirement from our engineers. It's a standard requirement that they're required to look at to whoever the lowest bid is and make their engineer's recommendation that is the firm that they are recommending. So they're putting their engineer stamp and their reputation on Stoven.
And it's their responsibility, the engineering firm, to look into any red flags,
Yes, ma'am.
any concerns about each individual.
And if there are no concerns, if there are the lowest bid, I'm actually can't award to any other company. I must award to Stoven within the procurement rules. The only way I could avoid awarding to Stoven was if the engineer came back with a red flag that there was an issue. So with all their research, there were no red flags, and they did, again, put their reputation on
Could we
recommending
still
Stoven.
ask them to give us a couple of projects that they've done?
I could ask them to do that.
Because I would really like, because we've never used this company, and I know WH Pacific gave us the recommendation, but I think it'd be good.
I could ask them, yes.
You can ask them, provide it for us.
We're going to be voting on this next week.
Because I don't want this project held up.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
because of that, I want a response by tomorrow and make certain that the council gets that response. Thank you very much.
I will contact WH Pacific tomorrow, and I will direct them to get it to me as quickly as possible. They should already have the projects on file, but I'll have them get it to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Then it's a pleasure to board.
Councilor.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a request to purchase one transport truck for the solid waste division. Ms. Gilberry.
Thank you. Mayor, councilors, Madam Manager, Solid Waste Division is in need of another transport truck, a semi-truck. We have one where the engine has blown, and we went and had it inspected to see how much it would cost to repair that piece of equipment, and it was not cost effective. So we did look at a used semi, and this is what we're currently looking at. Bruckner is a company we've used numerous times for used equipment, and we sent staff down, multiple staff members down to look at the truck, inspect the truck, drive the truck, and it absolutely, we came up with two options. This one meets our needs because it does come with a wet kit. The other option did not come with a wet kit. In this case, the vehicle is $50,863. We did budget for this. This will allow us a couple of new things. One is it will add to our transports to Wagon Mound, because we are having a hard time with, a challenging time with removing trash from our transfer station promptly. With Wagon Mound and Estancia, with winds and snow, sometimes they're open, sometimes they're closed. The more trucks that we can get out at one time, the more trash we can get out of the transfer station to make room for others. So having this additional truck will help with that. In addition, the Environment Department has, since the actual inception of the transfer station, has informed us that we need to get rid of our green waste pile. And we, with our priority of removing trash, removing the green waste pile by shredding or removing it has The additional green waste is greatly exceeding what we're getting rid of. We continue to try and throw trash away, deliver the green waste with it, and mulch it. And so having this additional truck along with an item that's coming up next will allow us to add in another load of getting that green waste out of here. We are going to actually put a couple team members to focus on getting that green waste down at the, I don't know how to say it properly, at the Environment Department's direction. And by direction, it's a requirement. And we will be focusing on getting that green waste down. So we'll have a designated driver and a designated staff member to remove that by mulching and by transportation. But this is particularly, it'll benefit us in two areas. We'll be able to haul more green waste and we'll be able to haul more trash.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions, Councilor Lee?
Maria, on the truck that the engine was blown.
Yes.
Was that because of lack of maintenance or it's too old?
It's a very old truck. I don't have the age on it, but I did have my staff members give me a 20-year replacement plan on all their vehicles, and that one was going to be replaced anyways because it had exceeded its age.
Yeah. Did you guys ever see if you put another engine on it? Or?
Staff did look at it and the cost, and I do not, I'm sorry, Counselor, I don't have that number in front of me, but I know when we discussed it, we discussed replacing it. It was, what we would get out of this truck was a much better deal than replacing the engine on that previous truck.
And what do you plan to do with the truck that's blown, got a blown engine on it?
I'd like to get rid of it. I will be talking to Lucas to make sure there is nothing we can do with it, unless another department wants to put money into it. Other than that,
to the
I'll
people
be
that
talking
you
to
talked to,
Lucas
that
about
one you're trying to buy, did you ask him if you could get something for the
it.
yard?
Trade it in, Counselor, I did not, and that's that is
Because,
something
we're paying,
yeah.
what, $200-some thousand or whatever we're paying.
What's the question? Sorry. What's the depreciation value on that truck?
It's a used vehicle.
Yeah, zero.
It's 50,000.
On the other one, on the old one.
Oh, on the old one? It's zero.
Zero.
Yes.
But even though it's zero, if they give you $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, I don't care.
That
we can
Because
certainly
what's
take
going on is, how to say, we're buying equipment and some of the stuff that we're leaving back there, and then we sell it for 3-4 cents a pound for scrap metal. If you're talking to the company about, they could give you something with it, more than what we're selling it for.
Yes.
I just got something in my mind that maybe you could ask for whoever's buying the truck or whatever.
if they'll take that, and we will address that. That's a very good question, Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Howard.
Oh, that was mainly my question
Okay.
also, but who does our maintenance on these trucks?
Anything that can be done by staff is done by staff. Oil changes, tires, air filters, regular maintenance, anything that's specialized. We have a contracted diesel mechanic, and that is DAG.
And this truck is how old? The
Uh,
one that
this-
one that we have?
2013. The new one is 2013. The other one is more than 10 years old.
More than 10 years old from the current date, so we're talking 2008?
I know it's more than 10 years old because its depreciation is 10 years, but I'd have to get you the exact date of the original one.
Okay.
It could be, many of our vehicles are 20 plus years old, where they go back to the 90s.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Councilor Romero.
One last question, and again, I know it's used, I saw the mileage on it. 400 and some thousand.
The mileage, yes.
The question that I have, warranty, is there any, to what I read here, I don't see any, extended warranty, is there?
There's a 90-day warranty or 25,000 miles.
How much, how many miles?
Not 25,000.
And how long are, I'm looking, longevity of the vehicle. It's right at that point to where, yes, it's done good, but, it's a 1 million mile vehicle. I know that for a fact.
And that's why we buy them from Buckner, because we've done good with Buckner.
And they had multi-point inspections,
Yes.
everything that,
They'll actually bring them in and they'll do an inspection on them before they'll even accept them, because their company's name is going to be on the vehicle.
and I guess what would an extended warranty cost? I mean, if we were to,
I asked for the warranty in this, and they've
That's
told me
the-
90 days, 25,000 miles. We have asked for extended warranties in the past, and they're not usually end up worth it.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the board? That's it? We're in number 5.
we could have a little more discussion on that.
What we could do is not a problem. We'll put it on the regular agenda for next week. Correct? Gotcha. Let's go.
And could you, I mean, and I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but I would feel a lot safer, maybe a little more warranty if possible, if you could ask that question.
I will ask them to find out what the price
Just
would be
because
for
of,
the...
So we'll remove it from consent. We'll put it on the regular agenda, follow up with the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And be prepared.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes. The next item is the request to purchase one transport trailer for the solid waste division. We have Ms. Gilbert.
Mayor, councilors, and this is the trailer that goes along with this semi and additional semis. This is the first semi that we're talking about could be used with some other trailers that we have. And this trailer will be used for additional waste transport to Wagon Mound or Estancia. We do have an old one that is rusted and it's not safe for the roads. We're not able to operate it on the roads. And so we will be purchasing another one so that we can get rid of more of our waste quickly.
Okay, questions, comments? Councilor,
Maria, on the one that's not working, what's wrong with it? What's?
Due to the corrosion,
Yeah.
I believe DOT did an inspection on it and told us that it was not roadworthy.
Is there any repairs we could do to it or anything like that?
Due to the extensiveness of the corrosion, no. Not cost effectively. There's a lot of material that have to be replaced.
Thank you.
Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the board? Consent?
Wouldn't it make sense to leave it off? Because what if we don't approve the truck and we have the trailer?
They're not tied. I mean, they can be used together, but they're not exclusive,
Yes,
mutually
yeah.
exclusive. So if
Yeah.
for some reason the semi is not approved, we still need the trailer.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Consent.
Consent.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Number 7, this is Vega, resolution 1904, and that should have been written out as request to refill and replace, correct? Ms. Vega? Yes. Okay. On 7, 8, and 9, correct?
At the request of VFA.
VFA, okay. Make sure that we get that on the agenda
Yes, ma'am.
for the next regular.
So the next item is
Ms.
resolution
Vega,
number
the floor is yours.
19-04.
Number 7.
Pardon?
The floor is yours.
Thank you. They put me at the end.
There's a reason behind it, girls.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, the Finance Department is requesting that to repeal and replace Resolution 1843 at the request of the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration to clarify budget adjustments, adjusting various funds, budgeted revenues and expenditures and transfers in and out. And we do have a new budget analyst at DFA, and she did not approve the resolution as presented.
You want more detail?
She wanted more detail on this resolution. So I have reworded the resolutions and included the information on the.
What's the name of the analyst at DFA?
Cordelia. Martinez? I don't recall.
But we also have a younger analyst, Anita
Medina.
Medina, and I think she's being trained by Miss Cordelia. I don't remember the last name.
And that usually happens at DFA?
Yes.
You have change, people retire, people leave, and it takes a while.
It takes a while,
training
and
them into the job.
with some, there are no gray areas. You know, it's black and white. And
And every analyst wants it a little differently, but let me ask you a
Correct.
question. How long has Cordelia been there?
that I'm not sure. She's been there a while.
She's been there.
It had them, I have it attached to the documentation. And,
Is that the reason why that the person wanted values in the resolution?
right, and there was not a reference in the resolution about the transfer from the general fund. On the resolution, it was included on the schedule, however, it was not included on the resolution. Yes, the schedule, yes. Resolution 1905, the city is in need of repealing and replacing Resolution 1845 at the request of the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration to clarify budget adjusting various funds, budgeted revenues, expenditures, and transfers in and out.
Okay, what is the questions, comments?
This is item 8?
8, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Give me a second, because I have some notes here, but if you don't mind, on the resolution itself. And it's a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Is it? Maybe it's not this resolution.
Maybe it's the one you already approved.
Or, well,
Maybe
this
it's
is 1905 or 1906?
1905.
1905.
Okay, my question is on 1906. Okay. Consent.
Consent?
Thank you.
Ready?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The next item, number 9, resolution 19-06. Ms. Vega.
Finance Department is requesting approval of Resolution 1906 to increase various budgeted revenues, expenditures, transfers to and from within the various funds of the fiscal year 2019 budget.
Counselor Casey.
Okay, let me find it here again. Sorry. Oh, okay. On the whereases, like I said, you're probably gonna think.
Which
what's wrong with
whereas?
it. On the third whereas, the last line, it says $50,000 fire protection, other special revenue fund, and a $43,000 to NMFA. Why is that A there? Is there a word missing there?
It's
Is
a
it a
payment.
transfer or whatever?
It should be a transfer of $43,000 to the NMFA Fire Equipment Loan Fund.
Okay, so Madam Mayor, if I may, I move that we add the word transfer right before 43,000 to correct the resolution.
That's not a problem?
That's not a problem,
We don't need a
and I
motion on
prefer
that one, we
that.
just
Okay.
have
So
a-
Yeah,
DFA
because
will
it's-
approve.
Okay.
Gotcha. They've caught that. We'll just correct all the things. that-
Okay, great. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank
Any other
you.
questions, comments?
Thank you.
What's the pleasure of the board? Thank you very much. Let's move on to item number 10, which is
Resolution.
only for discussion that will go into regular session.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no consent on this one.
Resolution
Ms. Vega, I believe this is
19-07.
yours as well?
Yes. We are requesting Resolution 1907 to increase budgeted revenues and expenditures transfers to and from within various funds, and I apologize. I overlooked this one grant, and which I did not include in 1906, and therefore I am requesting approval for this one also.
Okay, well, we can't put it on the consent agenda.
Correct.
But we'll take it to the regular discussion only. At the regular session, we might have to discuss it again. If there's any questions from the council, they'll ask you those questions and we'll move forward. It's a JAG grant, correct?
It's a JAG grant, right.
Okay, questions, comments? This is only for discussion. Councilor Casey.
Just a quick question. Confidential fees is for confidential informants?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. This is on the regular session for the next meeting's agenda. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. That concludes the discussion items for the work session tonight. We now have executive session. I have no need for executive session.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to go into executive session.
Okay, could you explain what?
I would